I'm Kai Kennedy, and I'm a left winger, and I play for Rangers.
I'm Mackenzie Carse, I'm a midfielder and I play for Celtic.
It's up to you,
Older one, go first.
I'll go first then.
Right, let's roll.
What player do you look the most up to at the club?
Probably Ryan Kent. I think he's probably one of the best players at the club, and I think probably one of the best players in the Europa League this season. I think his skill, his step over, I'd love to just learn that. I think his step over to get away from somebody is incredible. Who is the best player you've come up against in training?
Probably Callum McGregor. Just does everything so sharp and you can't get near him. One touch, two touch, he's fit as anything, and his movement's just top draw. Obviously I'm a midfielder, so when I've been up training I've been playing against him and you just cannot touch him. Even though you think you're going full pelt to try to get after him, he just glides and drifts away from you and you can't get anyone near him. It's different for him in games though, because he's no kind of on the pitch to do stuff like that, but some of the stuff he does in training you're like, how is that even possible to do that? Have you ever been starstruck by a senior pro?
I think obviously when Steven Gerrard came into Rangers, I think when you look up to him and when you start talking to him, it's like, wow.
Did he used to join in with the training sessions?
He joined in a few of them, yeah.
Did he still have it?
Yeah, still have it. Still had it. Who is the unsung hero at your club?
Probably James Forrest. I don't think he gets anywhere near the credit that he's due for doing what he's done the past 10 years at Celtic. I just think, see, because they've had like Scott Sinclair and they've had Moussa Dembele and Edward. I think obviously because they all took the spotlight when they first came in, but because he's always been kind of in the background and all that, but if you look at the stats and that, he's still up there every year with the goals and assists, even joining them or even better than them. What was it like training with the first team for the first time?
That was amazing. That felt like one of your dreams as well, wasn't it? Obviously it was probably the most nervous thing that I'd ever done up until then. Steven Gerrard's your manager and you've got a lot of staff who are well experienced as well, and you've got players that you look up to. I think when you're nervous, I think you actually do better. So I think when I first went in, I done well, and then it was one of the best moments probably.
Didn't try any cheeky little nutmegs and any of the senior pros?
No, I wouldn't be trying that. I see, to be honest, you just go around and be yourself, innit? Just go for it, innit? Because you might only be there once, so you're better just to go for it. What youth team did you hate playing against coming up?
Rangers, because it was just always like, at Celtic it's always been kind of young boys always go up the levels. I remember I played against them once in the Youth Cup second round and it was Rangers vs Celtic and we get battered 5-0. It's just because it's your rivals and it always adds on a wee bit of pressure. Even at that, it's a good experience because you're competing against the boys that are the best in Scotland at that age.
I was actually playing that game.
Did you score?
I scored.
If you could go back a year and give yourself some advice, what would it be and why?
I think through the full seasons that I've been there on loan and that, I think, for example, when you get dropped, I'd hopefully better myself the way I take it, because some weeks you'd think that you should be playing and sometimes I would take it the wrong way and maybe I'd lose ahead a bit, whereas I think you just need to keep focused a bit better, which I would say that over the last period of time that I've got better at. What is your biggest achievement to date?
Probably getting picked to the 19s to go to the Euros. Just the way the boys in the foreign countries play, like, in the way they prepare for games, everything's just so crisp and sharp, and even when you're in and about the hotel, they're not doing anything wrong. They're just doing everything they can to give themselves the best possible chance to win the game. How do you deal with pressure?
I think you just get used to that. I think obviously when you go to first team, I think that's what I've been doing. I think when you go there it's different because I think the pressure from playing academy football to first team is a lot different, because turning up like every week knowing it's like 3 points and it's like win bonuses, which people like in the championship, like everyone wants to get just 3 points for the table. You want to get up, or if you're fighting down the bottom, so every game's like massive, whereas if you're playing an academy game it's just like it's another game, you're not playing for anything, whereas when you go out and loan it's like every game means something, and if you don't do well you've got fans behind you going crazy. When did you know you wanted to be a footballer?
I think it was when I was about 8 or 9. I was at Rangers and I went to Portugal. I went with 2 years above, so it was with your age group, wasn't it? We went to Lisbon and I was captain in one of the games, and then that was when I realised that I've actually got a decent bit of a chance here.
When did you actually leave Rangers to go to Celtic then? How did that happen?
I was 12, I think. And then they set up this school project, so it was like every player that played with Celtic all went to the same school, and you got like your training and stuff. So it was like you trained in the morning, went to school, and then trained in the afternoon. And then that was kind of when it happened. But I think they ended up having to buy me when I was like 12 for Rangers. My first game for Celtic was against Rangers, and I didn't find out I was playing until the morning of the game because Rangers weren't going to let me play in it. So then I played in that game and I actually scored and won 3-2.
that is a baptism of fire, isn't it? That's a lot for a 12-year-old to go through.
How much does the Celtic Rangers rivalry mean to you?
That means a lot. Every Old Firm game, the night before, even playing in the youth games, you get a good feeling and you're nervous, of course, and obviously I've never played in a first team one, but that's a dream. The most important lesson you learned last season?
Probably keep myself in top fitness, because I had a long season. I played 46 games in the Lone League, and then I played 6 with Scotland as well, so it was kind of just not when you're at Celtic, it's how you act when you're not there, by eating the right stuff and sleeping and doing all your stuff in the gym, because if I didn't do any of that right, then I probably wouldn't have been able to keep the standard of playing up for the full season. How did it feel being offered your first pro contract?
It was amazing. Of course it was. That's what every young boy wants, a first pro contract, and when you get your first one, it only drives you for more. And I think that's only the start, because you're still young. I think you've still got so much to do. It's only first pro contract, but it just makes you want more. Was there ever a moment you thought you would not make it?
See, to be honest, I've never really been involved in a first team environment yet, so it's kind of a tough one to say, because I've always been about the academy. It'd be different if you were involved with a first team every day and seeing how they train to see if you can meet the standards of what the pros make, because it's always a worry as if, if I go up there, am I going to be sharp enough? Am I going to be fit enough? Because I've been playing academy and I've never went into a first team environment. I've not really felt that kind of feel yet, as if I don't know if I can do it. The gaffer's always there when they can be, and the assistants are always there when they can be as well. Like we played at Celtic Park against Rangers, and the full coaching staff were there. Everybody was there, so it's always good to see them being there, because it kind of gives you that extra wee bit of incentive to go and show them what you can do, so you hopefully get that chance.
Every time you did something well, you like.
Aye, just have a wee look up and you see if he's looking at you. Aye.
Wink to the gaffer.
That's the end of the video. Can you please drop it a like?
Subscribe to Football Daily with notifications on.
Yeah, that's it. Nailed it.